right, folks, I am here with Travis Fisher from Awesome Acres. He's a realtor for John L. Scott Real Estate, and I got to meet him last summer when he had an event out there at his Awesome Acres property. And I'm just really glad to have you on, Travis. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, Sean. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, I want to start out by asking you a few questions about what you do out there. And first off, how did you get your start in the real estate business?
Well, real estate was kind of a dream of mine from my early 20s. I used to do construction when I was a kid, and I got really interested in how houses were built. And then I eventually thought, well, you know what? I don't want to do construction for the rest of my life. There's kind of a little bit of a toll on your body on that for over time. And so I decided that I wanted to get into the real estate side of it and sell the houses and the architecture that I've grown so fond of loving.
Awesome. And so what makes you different as a real estate agent? And what do you want people to know about you in this video?
I would say the thing that sets me apart from other real estate agents is really my focus on self-sustainable properties. I've just gotten started into real estate recently, but my whole focus on getting into real estate was really to eventually get into an exclusive market of selling self-sustainable properties and helping people make their own homes self-sustainable.
Awesome. Awesome. And when you first started this business, what did you hope to accomplish and what has changed over time?
When I first started this business, as I said, it was to really try to get into that self-sustainable market. But as I got into it, I found out that there's a lot of red tape around self-sustainable properties and how easy it is to attain the materials and all that kind of stuff. And that's really become one of my biggest challenges is finding properties that people want to sell, because there's not a whole lot of self-sustainable properties out there. And that's something I hope to change in the future. That's where I put my focus.
Now, when we had talked earlier, you had talked about having some inspiration with earthship homes. What are some of the different types of sustainable homes, and what is sustainable development for our viewers out there that might not be familiar?
So sustainable development and it's alternative home materials are building materials that are meant to work with the earth and last longer and not have to take so much care. The thing with like wood construction and concrete is that, they're awesome materials and I love modern wood homes and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is that it takes a lot of extra care. And then with like roofs and stuff, I'm a big fan of the living roof, which is a roof that's, you can pretty much grow your own food, or if you want to grow grass on top of it, you can do any kind of materials. And also, the thing is that's nice about that is you don't have to replace your roof every 20 years.
Absolutely. And have you worked with any kind of the water reclamation on those? Taking a look at some of that with the sustainable development, like with the earthship homes or?
Yeah, well, one of the cool things about water reclamation and earthships is just specifically is they have a gray water system, which is it recycles your water like for you have black water, gray water, and clear water, right? So clear water is like what comes out of your sink or out of your shower. And then when that water goes into the drainage, in most places it goes into your septic or the city sewer system. But with gray water systems, they take the water like from your shower and from doing your, washing your hands and all that kind of stuff. And it recycles that water that you can reuse it through, to water your gardens, other stuff like that. It's a really like natural system. It's an amazing system. And it's something that I hope when I finally design my own homes and get them out on the market, I plan on using gray water systems and black water systems as well, in combination with a couple of awesome filtration systems I've learned about over the last 10 years.
What kind of demand have you seen for this kind of development here in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, we up here in the Pacific Northwest really like being eco-friendly, and we really like, I've seen a greater push for more self-sustainable homes and more alternative building materials, such as especially hemp and bamboo have been really big right now. I mean, like a lot of people, when they think of hemp and bamboo for for products to think of only that hemp can only produce wood, but it can produce concrete, plastics, moldings. It can do almost anything with hemp, and it's amazing material. Same thing with bamboo. They're both very prolific materials, and they have like great antimicrobial, antibacterial properties, which help maintain your home for longer. And I'm seeing like a great movement in the town in Portland, especially with this tiny home market. And I noticed that there's been a lot of tiny homes that have been being built with bamboo lately and stuff like that. I think that's a really awesome jump forward.
Another question I had was, when I was out at your Awesome Acres property over the summer, I noticed you had over 28 acres out there. How does Awesome Acres for you tie into your overall vision for sustainable development and community?
I'm really glad you asked, Sean. The reason why I actually bought this property was because I wanted to start a test run for my sustainable program that I eventually hope to launch here in the next couple of years, that encompasses, farming for yourself, but with more modern automated systems. So that way, you don't have to go out and toil for 12 hours a day to grow enough food for you and your family anymore. And so I bought this property with that hope that I could design a small farm and wilderness retreat to eventually use as a model for my business in the future. But it's also a great place to live, I'm not gonna lie.
I saw that in some of your bridges. And for those of you that don't know, Travis has a 28 plus acre property that borders on both sides of the river. He owns the property on one side of the Nehalem River and property on the other side of the Nehalem River outside of Vernonia, Oregon. And one of the things I noticed when I was out there for the drive-in social distancing concert that you had, the camping thing, was
August Fest. That was amazing.
Yeah. You guys were building bridges out of the trees off the property that they just completely blended with the landscape and everything. It just seemed to be the theme of all the construction out there that you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of like, my dream is to have everything on the property. I mean, eventually, like when I bought the property, it came with a couple of homes on the property that I eventually plan on moving off of the property and creating new homes on the property built out of the material. Most of the materials I can grow at my house between the lumber I have, and I eventually want to start growing up some hemp on my fields. And I also want to get, I've started a little bit of bamboo, so I can actually use my own materials to build everything on my property. So that way it kind of keeps it that home feel, I mean, everything came from here. We did this off the property. And that's why I really love this property, because it gives me all kinds of resources. I mean, the Nehalem is just one of the most beautiful rivers in the world, in the sense that it's one of the last living rivers in the Northwest. And I love being able to have that part right there. So, but it provides so many materials like clay, and it provides a lot of crystal and good rock minerals. And then I also get a whole bunch of lumber, and I have tons of field space to grow whatever I pretty much want to grow out there. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we had also talked a little bit about the educational component that you are interested in teaching others sustainable development out there. How does this property tie into your educational model?
Well, see, the property gives me a place to actually institute the educational model. Because out here at Awesome Acres, with all the land and all the space we have out there, and I've been slowly designing the land to be like a wilderness retreat, and it gives me plenty of, gives me plenty of space to actually incorporate all of the ideas of what I'm doing. So as I do a project at my house, I like to kind of film it, or at least have somebody who's documenting it, what we're doing, so that way later on, when we start to open up more and do classes, we can give people the opportunity to learn how to do things like self-sustainable farming and self-sustainable building. We're really into, hopefully in the next 2 years, we're going to launch a program to help people learn how to build tiny homes. And I want to try to do it with some material, with alternative materials, because right now with lumber going up, it's been really hard, to really get into, the lumber prices have skyrocketed almost 3 times the amount normal. So I'm trying to look into more other materials. Now I'm blessed with the fact that I have a whole forest in my backyard. So for me, getting material is not that hard.
We have a lot of that in Vernonia. You know, there's a lot of people that mill timber locally, but it's still, people still feel the pinch when they go in to develop major projects. And your sustainable development model and some alternative methods that you mentioned with bamboo and with hemp sound very promising. Now, what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in pursuing your dream with this property and with what you're doing?
The biggest challenge I have come into play is red tape. You know, learning all of the rules in, you know, the county that I live in, and like making sure that I'm not you know, messing with like the river and the environmental process around the river, and learning like what I'm allowed to do. Because like when I originally bought this property, unfortunately, now I'm a real estate agent, so I probably shouldn't say this, but I didn't do enough due diligence when I bought this property. And so I had to learn like how to work with the system, and how to, you know, because like the biggest problem I run into with self-sustainable projects is that getting permits for those projects can be really hard in today's society, because people aren't aware, even the counties and the governments are not aware of a lot of the alternative like materials that you can use to build with. And I think that honestly, that has been my greatest struggle this whole time, is like just making sure that I'm doing things the right way, you know, because you don't want to end up building something and then having the county come in and say, hey, this wasn't permitted, this wasn't done right, you know. And that's like the biggest challenge I've run into. And that now, having been involved in that process, I am learning a lot more about it, and it's kind of making that challenge a little bit less than it was once before when I first got started. But, you know, I'm 4 years into this process now. So, you know, I've had to learn a lot of things along the way, and it's been really tough. Another challenge, you know, going into that as well is, you know, talking about the lack of knowledge of these new building materials and these new other ways of building has been a real challenge for me too. Because I mean, when I first started doing this idea, it was a kind of a pipe dream. I'm not going to lie. Like I had no idea, like I had ideas, but I didn't know how to get hold of the materials that I wanted to get hold of. And that was a real challenge. But you know what? A little bit of research and YouTube really helped me get there.
Right on. One of the big things that I saw a lot of feedback online was that people felt like family when they came there. And your family lives out there with you, you know. I see the kids running around. How does that whole concept of family translate into the experience with people that come out and do business with you?
Well, Sean, I've always been a family first kind of person. I believe honestly that people should, you know, we're a communal species as humans, and it's important that we have good communication and kind communication with each other. And I'm not just about self-sustainability, and it goes into my real estate thing too. Is like I actually use a method called ninja selling, which is stop selling and bring value, right? So that's my greatest goal. And so like, you know, I don't want to, I'm not trying to like sell my idea to anybody. I mean, people come out to my property and they see that, you know, I'm a very gracious host. To me, it's very important that people feel like they're part of my family when they come there, because I think that if more people spent more time making other people their family, the world would just be a friendlier place. And I do get a lot of great feedback about that. I feel very blessed that so many people have noticed my attempt to make them my family, making sure that people have what they need. And when they come out to my place, I really want people to enjoy the experience and not have to worry about, because people always forget things like wood, food, drinks, all that kind of stuff, you know. So if I can provide it, I'm going to. And I got blessed with the fact that I have tons of great people who have come out to my property that were friends maybe before, or maybe just came out and just really loved the ideas that we had out there and just became part of the team. And that's actually like a major part of my philosophy as a business owner, is working with people who share my values, my core values. And my core values are family, friends, fun, you know, and self-sustainability. And I've gotten a great amount of people that have really pitched in on this project, and I cannot thank them enough. They really helped me accomplish this dream of Awesome Acres, you know, and I hope to eventually take this model of Awesome Acres and family community and buy more properties and continue this method, and like, you know, have different properties that are all focused on self-sustainability, teaching people how to be self-sustainable, not just here in Vernonia, Oregon, but also hopefully eventually around America and eventually around the world.
Well,
because we are all one big family, Sean.
absolutely. And I just wanted to thank you so much, Travis, for coming here on Construction Business Television. For those of you that don't know, we're Construction Business Television Portland, but we're part of a much larger nationwide network that has a local focus. And we love it when folks like yourself come on, do interviews with us. We get to learn a little bit more about your business, your life, your family. And I just had a couple more questions about the real estate side of things. How have they worked with you as you began to pursue some of your dreams around sustainable development?
Now, see, that's a really good question. I'm still getting into this this method with people, because like when I talk about self-sustainability, people think, oh, you want solar panels on your, you want to help people get, solar panels, renewable energy. And that is part of the thing. But for me in real estate right now, it's very hard, because the people who do have self-sustainable properties, they created those to live for life, right? So they don't want to sell them. And I've really ran into that problem with that when I going into real estate. But I hope to, eventually, as I get to know more people and more homeowners, and as I start to spread these classes around and more people come out to Awesome Acres, my goal is to use my real estate license to help other people achieve the same idea of self-sustainability, that dream of being able to know that, like, if all the lights were to go out, that they'd still have everything they needed.
That's amazing. Well, we're reaching the time limit right now. I just wanted to finally thank you, and thank you all for watching. And one last question: how can people find out more about Travis Fisher, Awesome Acres, and what you're doing with John L. Scott?
You can reach me at awesomeacresnw.com, or you can also get hold of me through travisfisher@johnlscott.com. That's more for my real estate. And if you're really interested in sustainable building and Awesome Acres and coming out and checking out the property, again, check out awesomeacresnorthwest.com, or you can also find us on Facebook at Awesome Acres/Facebook, I believe. I'm not sure if it's Awesome Acres NW
or Facebook.com/Awesome Acres.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Facebook.com/Awesome Acres. Cut that into the right way.
All righty. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewers before we go?
Yes. I would like to tell everybody to have an awesome day, and to remember that every dream is possible. It only takes you taking that first step and then following through. It's a step by step process. Everybody can attain their dreams. Go out and start getting or attaining your dream.
All right. Thanks a lot, Travis. And hey, folks, this has been a great time. Y'all have an amazing day.